Good morning to a reasonably overcast, slightly rainy, day 314. Hope everyone's feeling well. It's actually nice to have a cloud there today, actually, to get the sun off you for a little bit. But obviously, as long as the rain doesn't come. Obviously, help me like and subscribe below if you can. That'd be absolutely lovely of you. Welcome to anybody new. Thank you for the comments last night. I think we're at 651 subscribers at the moment, so still a way to go to get to our 1,000. So, but if anyone has got any ideas about how to try and help with that, let me know. My brother sent me a YouTube video today on how to do that, so I'll certainly have a watch of that later on. If there's any ideas, please let me know. And again, you guys, you can like and subscribe and share and do your stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, we've got to get this bit down here tidied up. We dug this corner out and poured concrete in there. I'm waiting for the next rainpour to see whether it's worked. We've also got to do the same a little bit further over as well, because we've got the same issues. I think I showed you guys the leaks that we were getting, the dampness we were getting in the basement, and it's coming down behind the mud in here, so we need to try and get those resolved. It's not essential, it's not a usable room obviously, but I'd much rather have no damp coming in than damp, that's for sure. I just had the electrician out. We've been looking at where we're going to be running obviously the cameras for external and the bell boxes for the alarms. Obviously you have to run the conduits through the walls in order to make it straightforward. We've done what we can. As you can see up there, there's a conduit on the roof. You can just see it there. That's actually for a camera. So we're going to have a camera up there anyway. But again, in order to get that on the wall, ideally you want it halfway in between the window and the top of the wall to make it look nice and central. But that then means drilling and chasing and all sorts. So we may very well have a camera up on this corner here facing that way. So it's literally getting this view down here. And then what we're looking to do at the moment is to take some cabling through the main hallway in here, take it through the wall at the top here. So we can literally take it straight through and we can position it on the front. So the bell box and the camera will probably go on that wall. The camera obviously will be getting the driveway and the garage, etc. And the bell box obviously is to wake people up should the alarm go off, which hopefully it won't. In here is pretty much as is yesterday. We've got to get the plumber out to redo this one here. We've got to take that one out and redo anyway, but before we do that, we're going to drill a hole through underneath to go out the front. That'll be in case we ever want to get another camera out there or anything on there, so we're going to get that done. And we've also got to connect up the second drain and do these properly. The downside we physically have is you can see this elbow here. In fact, let me get in front of it. The downside is, at the moment, is the elbow is thicker at the top than this drop, which means at the moment it's coming at them, it's all connected, but obviously we have a slight run backwards, which means we will get a little bit of distilled water, a little bit of stagnant water in there, which I didn't really want. But there's no way we can actually get that fitting up any higher. So we've already trimmed what we can off the top of it, and that's about as flush we can get it. So obviously, if anyone's doing this sort of stuff in future, you have to make sure you're considering how low these pipes go, because obviously everything has to run. So at the moment, the force of the water will make the water run, but over time you will have a little bit of water sitting in there, unfortunately. All of these silver marks here, one here, one there, and all the way through the garage, they're all where the lights are and the conduits are. So again, the conduits are going to be run via here. So this will come over and connect all of these up. These will be lights. The center 3 lights will be on a motion sensor, which we've had the conduit installed in this corner here. So we'll break that conduit out. There'll be a little sensor here, and as soon as it senses any form of movement coming into the driveway, then the inner lights will come on. So when you drive in, you can see what you're doing. And then if you want to be in it longer, then you can flit a light switch and the rest will come on. So yeah, we've got power up here for the left-hand side of the garage and the right-hand side, depending where the motor's going to be and the power. So that's just in case. So that's pretty much what we've got to do in here. We've got to run the power from the inner hallway up for the bell box. We've got to take a cable from the main unit across and go out the same one as well, which means we've got to use some form of, not armoured, but it's got to be some form of shielded cable, because obviously Cat 5/6, any form of data cable and power shouldn't run in the same conduit together. But that's the only way we can physically get both the cables out to power the alarm box and to provide the camera. So that's got to be done. And then towards the weekend, straight next week, we'll be running the conduits into the ceiling to ensure that we actually get the lights and the powers to the doors, etc. sorted. The wood's been taken apart and has been finished off. Yesterday we did get majority of this dug out, but it still's got to go a lot deeper. So as you can see here, we've got to be around about 6 inches deeper over there than we have with here. So this will end up being connected up properly. So hopefully the pipe will come today and we can get that redug out, ideally straight. too sure what's going on here. It's like Andy was on the Guinness once he did that. The guard wall has been finished off today, so the trial plastic has been done and an extra coat has been gone onto the columns, etc. The guys are downstairs fitting a door frame in downstairs, as far as I'm aware. Lovely smell of seaweed today, not pleasant. These guys are actually now starting to get the marl down the side, so not a lot in there so far. So they're digging this marl pile here, and it's all got to go down here. So we need to try and get more than that in by the end of the day, that's for sure. So we're at 10 o'clock already, and there's only 2 barrows in there. So hopefully, take that coconut out, but that coconut in there, take that out, Andy, in the back. Yeah. Sherman is actually painting the yellow wall at the back as well to try and finish off all the way around. You yellow. So yeah, well, I think the pile that we brought over is maybe a bit bigger than we needed to have, but again, it's got to go all the way down here, so this has got to be levelled here, and it's also got to slope up around that corner, so unfortunately it's a manual job. We've got to get the water pumped out of here in a minute, which will get underway, and we're also going to get the water taken out of the trough as well, and I also want to get into the pump room today to see whether any water's got into there as well, so that's one thing we definitely need to sort out and control. Also, I'm going to be looking at doing some of the finishing bits inside as well. We want interior done, so we can't do anything with those bifold doors from yesterday. Got to see whether any water comes in from rain before we do that. But there is a door frame in there that still needs to be done, and the doors are the next thing. So I'm trying to find somebody that can potentially finish the doors off. So again, like I said to you guys yesterday, if anybody knows anybody that's a decent joiner, not carpenter, a decent joiner who can hang a door, let me know. We need to consider that sooner rather than later. Other than that, say 10 o'clock, I'll check in with you throughout the day. There's a few things I'm going to be doing today, so I might even do like a little bit separate vids on those as well, so I'll check in soon. Okay, 10 to 2, outside. Just pumping out the water from the swimming pool. That needs to have a good old brush out, because it's been there for a few days now. And we're just in the midst of emptying the trough as well. As you can see, the pipe goes all the way down the beach and goes right over to there. So you can see the sort of, we need to dig out over there where the actual pipe is now. We need to dig all of that out and try and get that sand over to this side here to sort of raise the level. And that way it should hopefully sit there until it sinks through into the floor. The guys are also taking the marl that we had brought around and taking it from here, and we're bringing it over to the side return behind the side of the house. So we're literally, any corner that's low is being filled, as well as all of this here will be taken all the way through and up. I said to him, should have actually got the Bobcat to deliver all of it there really, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. So now they're having to manually obviously take that and wheelbarrow it around. Yeah, only reason why I'm doing this at the moment is just purely because of the mosquitoes, no other reason. This has been in there a few days now. We wanted to try to test where the leaks were coming from, so I'm going to get down in the pump room at the moment, which is where the pool pump is. I'm going to get in there at the moment, make sure that there's no leaking coming through to the base at the moment down there. There has been leaking at that side, so we know we've got to repair the front of that to ensure that there's no wipeout been done in the trough so far. So we've got to make sure we find where the leaking's going to be, getting that fixed, and then do the wipeout afterwards. The guys are obviously still taking the wood downstairs, and they're also putting a door frame in downstairs as well, just to ensure that we can start securing the place up. And the door frame has been filled in there, and it's now going to be compounded with a view to being sanded and painted tomorrow. So that's it. Give me a thumbs up if I'm worth it, and any comments would be gladly appreciated. Check in soon. Just gone 4 o'clock. Look how much of the pile they've actually dug in today, look. Do you think they should have done more than that today? Easy. Anyway, what we've also done with that pile, I shall show you where they put that in a minute. We've also just put some in the corners as well, so let me show you. So we've obviously put down here to level that out there. We've leveled out the corner over there as well. And obviously the rest of it is going down the side. And then there's a lot of mud that's got to go down. We'll probably take all of that pile. All of that pile will end up being used there. We've also started on the sump over in the corner, which you can just about see. So we're going to do a 3 foot by 3 foot, 3 foot deep sump over there, and we're going to put a concrete base with block sides on that, and then we'll connect up with a pump just in case there is any flooding that takes place in the near future. Now that there's more houses being built down here, the sewer systems and the wells are obviously taking more of a beating than they would have normally. So it's just trying to future-proof whatever's going to happen. The guys have just taken delivery of the doors, so they're going to be going in downstairs. Again, it's just down in this area here we put a door frame in today, so let me show you. So the door frame is in. So we've concreted the base here, we've got a drain that's actually going here that's got to be fixed. We put a threshold in here, there's a door frame now in, and both doors have just arrived, so we'll get those hung on there today. So there'll be like a French door type scenario. However, the downside is I can't actually get any decent doors that are solid with glass in them. So we've had to go for a solid door, which is not had glass, which means we're just going to have no light downstairs, which is a real pain in the backside. But anyway, in here, there's one of the doors there, for argument's sake. In here, we're starting to put on the rods, so we can actually get all the actual honeycombing sorted out first. We've also got to come down here by a foot in both the front and the rear, because we've got 8-foot openings, but we've opened them up to 9 foot. Just so that if we have any issues with the rear at any stage, we can obviously take that formwork out and reduce the height, increase the height to try and get whatever machinery it is we're going to need to get through. So the downside to that obviously means that we've now, once we finish this now, we've also got now built this down, which is a pain in the backside, but it does need to be done just in case we ever do need to access the back. If the septic tank needs to be replaced, or we have issues with the drainage, or something happens up here on the main deck, you know, we have the ability to be able to take that out rather than obviously being restricted to be able to get in there or not. So and also I'm not too sure, we ordered 2x4s, and we also ordered some 2-inch schedule 40 piping as well, so I'm assuming that's arrived. I did see the guys taking some of the doors down here, but I assume they're taking them down here because they're going to be getting ready to fit them. What else has taken place today? I told you about the electrician. We've had one of the wardrobe door frames that's been fitted and compounded, and tomorrow that'll be sanded and painted and filled. Other than that, that's been it today. So we've got a small sort of staffing element now. We don't need massive amounts of people, and we're just digging into certain things as day goes. Tomorrow being Thursday, we're meant to be ideally having two masons coming here tomorrow that are going to be plastering the inside of the garage and the door openings on the garage as well. Once they finish that, we're going to get them to go into the back and plaster the back of the cottage, because that was never done. Scratch coated but not plastered, so they'll get that done. And there was one other thing we were going to get them to do: the pool. So we've got to bash off tomorrow some of the blown elements on the pool. In fact, let me show you those quickly. I've been talking to a company in America about providing me a product that you roll on or you trowel on, which becomes a concrete membrane. So rather than messing around with all this scratch coat, diamond bright and all that garbage, a lot easier to do it the way that the Americans. As you can see on here, the first thing I can see is these stains that are obviously appearing on the wall. That tells me that water's leaking down behind the plaster, and it's trying to find holes in the front to leak out of, because the product we use, the waterproof we use, crystallizes inside and tries to fill gaps. So all these white marks are where the crystallization has taken place with the product and the water. And everywhere you see that, if you look above, you can see a crack, and then you can hear that's not too bad. So you can hear that, it's completely blown. So we're going to have to break all of this off. And unfortunately, the line starts here, very faint, and goes all the way down until we get to about 5 feet. So till about here. So virtually all of that side's got to come off. And on this side, again, when you look at the wall, there's none of the leakage sort of start signs. But then you start seeing a few around here. There's a few here, and again, when you go over, you can see cracking here. So not good. So again, it's not too bad here. Everything's all good along there. And again, there's no marks on the sides. So also what that does lead me to believe is, if the water's leaking down the side and it's finding these, then what happens if there's no leak at the top and it's not coming through? It does mean that there's some of these holes all over the full amount. So from my point of view, obviously I know this isn't the waterproof surface, a diamond bright or something like that will be the surface you're relying on to make sure it's waterproof. But you want to make sure that if you're using a waterproof concrete, that ideally it's as waterproof as possible, and it's clearly not. And on top of that, throughout time, we've had a lot of cracks like this appearing. So anyway, product I found, you mix it like a cement. It's a part liquid, parts dust. You mix it together and you literally either roll it on and then use a rubber blade, or you trowel it on and use a rubber blade. Either way, that's it. It's a 2-coat process. You just literally mix it, roll it on, smooth it, job done, leave it for 48 hours, and then apply a second coat. So I'm talking to their rep, which I think is based out of Puerto Rico, I think. So they're a Georgian company, Atlanta way, and the provider, the sort of the franchisee or the supplier that they have for the Caribbean is based out of Puerto Rico. So I'm going to be speaking to him in the next hour, in the hope that he can give me a great cost, and we can import the stuff here and give it a bloody damn good go, and then potentially start offering that product here, because at the moment everyone seems to go down the route of either tiling or diamond bright. It's not 1985, so. And at the moment there's a diamond bright shortage, so it's like you've either got white or really, really, really sky blue. Take your pick. There's no dark blues, there's no blacks, there's no turquoises, there's nothing at all. So I'm being restricted to buy a product that's bloody expensive, that's reasonably out of date, and I can't really find. So I may as well try and give this stuff a go, because it literally is like this stuff. You just pour it on, plaster, brush flat, job done. We can also run it right over here as well. So we can take it right over the edge, and we can also cover all of this. But I do want to try and find some form of coping stones now. I think I've actually made my mind up. I want to try and go a little bit higher on the coping stone here. And then I want to have some form of fill in behind, and I want the water level to be about here. And obviously then we'll have the coping stone out of the water, and then by the time we get down to this edge, then the water will just go straight off the end. That's, I think, my preference. So I'll update you on that after my phone call, which hopefully will take place in the next hour. And I'll give you an overview on what the product is and how much it's going to be. That's the thing I'm going to find out today, is ideally how much is it going to be. So that'll be interesting to find out, especially with the import and the tax element. Other than that, thanks for watching. Do help me, obviously, like and subscribe to the channel. Really important. We're at 6:51 still. 6:51, it's like a misfire, isn't it? But anyway, any help you can give on that will be greatly appreciated. Bye from me, bye from Tyson, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bright and breezy, thanks.